all the associated good stuff, as I'm sure we'll go into DeFi, DAOs, NFTs, and also we'll walk in the angle of how you as a developer, which I'm told most of you are, how you can leverage your skills to break into the space, because it's a pretty young space, I can say. Something like DeFi, I think only started to catch steam around 2020. It's not been around for a while. And so it really helps as a forward-thinking young person for you to align yourself with this new technology that a lot of maybe older guys who've been in the industry for longer do not have exposure to. We have a very fitting panel here. For those who watch basketball, I think this is like the 207 to 8 lineup. We have quite some heavy hitters here, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of back and forth. So just to get to know everyone, first of all, I hope you all had a good morning. It's a bit chilly. I hope you're staying warm. Some of you are like in t-shirts. I don't know what's up with you tech guys, as in you guys in t-shirts, but just get your freaking suit. Look at how I look. I look good. So just let loose. This is going to be a Q&A session. Feel free. My name is Anthony Sure, as I said. I work at Base Consulting. Mainly we leverage blockchain technology to provide real-world solutions. Like currently, we're working with Rockefeller Foundation to provide energy solutions. Just to get into a bit of detail, a lot of small energy producers do not have enough carbon offset for them to qualify for carbon credits. Carbon credits are just a way, if maybe your production of energy, you're producing green energy and you're offsetting some carbon emissions that, let's say, other firms, let's say in the manufacturing sector, that maybe emit more. You can such companies, they can be able to buy carbon credits from you, as most governments in the US and Europe actually require such companies to offset the carbon that they emit on a daily basis. So producers in Africa of green energy are not able to have access to that, and we've been mainly working with blockchain, especially Bitcoin miners, where they come in and they set up their mining rigs at some of these production sites. And what they do is, for you to, let's say, set a power plant in the middle of Kiambu, you have to have enough demand around you to sustain the power plant. And in places like, in very remote places like in Congo, you find that people, demand is not enough to sustain the power plant. So it's either people don't have power, and if they have power, not enough of them are paying for the generation to continue. So what we're doing is we're bringing in those miners. Miners take up the extra capacity so that the power mine the energy producers can keep their lights on. They still have money that they're earning from the mining rigs that are running off that energy. And as the demand grows, the good thing about Bitcoin mining is that it's flexible. You can be able to reduce your intake of power, and in that, be able to sustain the system and then enable people in rural areas to get energy. And also, we have created a virtual let's say, power grid where all these different small power producers, they come together, and when they're together, they can qualify for carbon credits and be able to keep their lights on. So that's mainly what I've been doing. Previously, I've worked in DeFi. I've worked at a crypto derivatives exchange, not on the dev side. I'm more of a finance guy. I've worked as a research analyst, and I've also worked as a quantitative analyst. And yeah, I'm really glad to be here. Maybe the panelists, I don't want to introduce any of them because I'll be doing them injustice. So I'll just let them introduce themselves here.
Awesome. So my name is Jordan Muthemba. I'm a dev advocate or evangelist. And one of my responsibilities as an evangelist is to create content for developer who are looking to transition from Web 2 to Web 3. I've worked with different companies, mostly fintech and blockchain related. Yeah.
Hey guys. Hey Anthony, thank you. Hey Jordan. Nice to meet you all. Though Jordan, we know each other. So yeah, I'm really glad that you guys are all here. My name is Brian Adams. Currently, I'm community manager at Mara. Probably you've seen the board outside there. And what do? I build communities. I like to interact with people. I like to study human behavior, and at the end of the day, deliver the product to you guys. What do we do at Mara? We are building blockchain solutions for you guys, not for you guys, through you guys. So if you guys, believe most of us here are developers, so we want to help you move to Web3 from the skills that you have, add a little spices on it, a little smart contract spice on it, then you guys can be able to move into the Web3. So see Mara as a portal to the Web3 economy or to the crypto economy. So yeah, back to you, Anthony.
Awesome. I'm glad now that you know everyone and like it's pretty much wide scoping. We have a wide range of experience between the three of us, and you can be able to leverage on that to learn as much as you can, even as you try to figure out which direction to take within the space. And so, starting us off, when I was told the topic of this talk, I actually went to Google search trends and I looked at how often people search for the word blockchain. And I also looked for how often people search for the word crypto. And it's no surprise that the word blockchain spiked around 2017 when Bitcoin was peaking, when we had a pump up to like 19,000 and then it fell off again. And then in last year when crypto was rallying again towards 69,000, that's the time also people started searching for the word blockchain. So it goes without saying that a lot of people associate blockchain with crypto, but with cryptocurrencies, and that's rightfully so, but blockchain is way more than crypto. Crypto is just one application of blockchain technology, and that's mainly what you're trying to communicate to you. So to realize that the space is very robust, it's not just as I call shit coins like Dogecoin and Poopcoin. So mainly, I think now we can just get into the definition of things. Because so Jonah, I know you are dev in the space. So what exactly would you describe blockchain technology as, and what do you think distinguishes a blockchain, let's say, from just a normal database?
Awesome. That's a really interesting question because most people confuse blockchain and cryptocurrency, and blockchain is just the technology that cryptocurrency is built on. So if you remove blockchain, there is no cryptocurrency. And one of the major differences between different blockchain and the normal technologies that we have, like MongoDB or the other databases, is that blockchain is immutable. So once you light your records on blockchain, they will stay there forever. They will remain there forever, and nobody can be able to interrupt or intercept or change anything. Once you light a transaction, it's immutable. It's also more transparent. If you take a look at the different system architects we have for different applications, even if the cloud is distributed, the database is still the same one. But in blockchain, you find that all the record that is in blockchain is distributed to different and various nodes. That means that if one node fails, the other, the system will continue learning. But if your database fails, then it means the entire application is not working. You remember the issue we had with one of the social platforms getting full, and they had to do something about it. But when it comes to blockchain, the application continues to learn and learn. And one thing amazing about blockchain is that when you do transactions, let's say you're doing transaction here locally, and you want to do another transaction internationally, you have to do fiat conversion. You have to do a lot of conversion from this fiat to another, and then there are a lot of rates which are implied. But when you create a fintech application that is you leveraging cryptocurrency as part of payment or remittance, it means that you don't have to use a lot of transaction cost. So for developers who normally do gig work in Upwork, they can tell you the challenges that they have been having. But when you do gig work in terms of Web3 and you get paid in cryptocurrency, there is no friction or any. So that is one thing I can say. It's more different from blockchain technology. And then again, there is no there is no intermediaries in the blockchain. So you create a system whereby it's peer-to-peer. There is no data that is stored for you, and then you get incentives. So we'll be getting more deeper into it as Ugariman does. Yeah.
Brian, do you have a few things to add before we proceed?
So yeah, I'd like to add on to what Jordan has said. Web3 is coming, just to encourage whoever wants to look at Web3 out there, but the module is different. So right now, we are talking about things like SocialFi. SocialFi is like an Instagram, but is distributed to the people. We've been talking about NFTs, and there have been very many trends. And with every trend comes great opportunities, right? So those are opportunities for you guys, and more reason as to why you should be looking at Web3. So the SocialFi I was talking about is more like, imagine Zuckerberg, right? Zuckerberg decides to start distributing all the money to the people who like, to the people who spend their time on Facebook, to the people who create content on Facebook and get likes. It's like an entire economy on Facebook where people are rewarding each other. And that reward, that like that you always click on, is value in cryptocurrency and can be cashed out. Now imagine if you have 2,000. Okay, believe it, most ladies have huge followings on Facebook and Instagram. Well, now imagine with all the likes that you get, and each and every like is equivalent to cash. Imagine where you will be. Probably most of us will not be going to work. Yeah, so that is the potential of Web3. It's all distributed, and it gives power back to the people, and all that is built on blockchain.
Awesome. I think we've gotten a wide-ranging definition. So if you've literally been living under a rock for the last 2 years, at least you have an idea of what this thing called blockchain is. And as I mentioned earlier, I think it's more wide-reaching than just crypto. As much as there's the crypto aspect of it, not all cryptos are built the same, yeah? And I think this is where most of the other applications of blockchain technology come in. Because if you look at something like Bitcoin, it's mainly the chairman of the SEC. The SEC is like the Securities and Exchange Commission in the US. They regulate financial markets. He actually said the only crypto that he considers a commodity, he said this like 2 weeks ago, is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin it fits the textbook definition of what someone thinks of when they think of a crypto. It has limited supply, you can use it to transact, and there's a level of the immutable aspect of it again. The transactions once on the blockchain, they can be changed. And also the mining, we'll get into the consensus mechanisms. But the point I'm driving at is not all cryptos are built the same. If you compare that to something like Ethereum, although Ethereum, as of in this current state, it's going into become a proof of stake blockchain network, but in its current state, it's like Bitcoin. It's proof of work, meaning there's a miner who has to validate transactions every block, and whichever miner validates the transaction earns the block rewards. And so Ethereum has that, and on top of that, it's you can build applications on top of it, and I think that's why you as devs come in, because blockchain development is really huge. DeFi has really grown a lot over the past 1 year, especially. I think sometime in June, Uniswap is an exchange. It's an app built on top of the Ethereum network. It actually surpassed ETH on transaction costs, like charges that they charge people to transact on the network, just to show you how disruptive DeFi is. DeFi in full is decentralized finance. So just a blanket definition, decentralized finance just takes advantage of blockchain technology, but they provide traditional, let's say, financial services that were provided by, say, let's say, a bank. If you want to go for a loan, you go to a bank. If you want to go for insurance, you go to an insurance company. If you want to trade securities, you go to a stockbroker. But now with DeFi, as a dev, you can literally write your smart contracts, deploy them on the Ethereum network, and they automatically, let's say, lending and borrowing. People who have the funds, who are looking to earn a return or an APY, they call annual percentage yields, can put their money into the protocol, and people who want to borrow can also come onto the platform and borrow. So you can see it's disrupting all other ways of doing business by just cutting out the middleman. The functions that were performed by the bank are just literally performed by a smart contract that you deploy on the blockchain automatically. When certain conditions are met, it works. And so I said my background is in finance, so that's I can give you the blanket definition, but I wanted to get into more on this with Jonah. We can start off with the DeFi side of things, yeah, decentralized finance. We've been seeing a lot of things going on there. There are decentralized exchanges. There's borrowing and lending now. There's even insurance you can get on the blockchain. If you keep up with stuff in the crypto, actually there's a hedge fund a crypto hedge fund that went under, like it's called Three Arrows Capital. And what they actually done, they had borrowed money against their crypto. Just to show you another application of DeFi, like you can literally use your Bitcoin as collateral to borrow money, and you can use it to transact somewhere else in the economy. So, John, I know you're a dev and you're involved in the space. So, how exactly, first of all, what's been your experience with DeFi, and also how will you advise that developer, let's say, who's coming from traditional tech? They know the traditional languages, but they maybe have never deployed code on a blockchain network. How will you advise them, and also just generally, what's the main difference that comes with blockchain development over just normal web development or programming?
Uh, awesome. Can I ask a question? Okay. So how many of us have Furiza? I do. Awesome. So I know all of us do runs using M-Pesa and Furiza. And one of the best thing about DeFi is that, as Anthony has mentioned, is you can be able to to borrow and lend money over the DeFi platform. Now, if think of it as if you moved outside of Kenya and you went to Uganda or Tanzania or any country or any East African country or even any country, yeah. So currently you are able to borrow from Furiza because you have a credit score, yeah, kind of a credit score. But if you now move to Uganda and there is no M-Pesa there, how do you do your borrowing? How do you do your borrowing? Yeah? It's gonna be tough. Anyway, that's for you to for blockchain to or blockchain comes in. But before that, we have to, like, I have to answer Anthony's question on how different it is to build on Web3. So in Web3, there is different technology stack that are involved. We have Solidity. You also have to know, like, you have to know the different types of blockchain that are available. So we have Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not support smart contract development. We have Ethereum, and we also have forks of Ethereum. So forks of Ethereum, which are EVM compatible with Ethereum virtual machine. That means that you can be able to build your smart contracts on Ethereum or Solana or Celo or any other blockchain that is EVM compatible with Ethereum. And you have to know Solidity. So Solidity is a blend of Python, C++, and so if you are familiar with JavaScript and any Node.js or any other languages that you normally use for web development in Web2, then you are good to go. So you have to learn smart contract. You have to learn the various way you do your testing. So you have to learn testing libraries like Mocha and Chai. So Mocha and Chai are also used in the different in Web2 to do the testing for your application. So you also have to learn. And remember, when you are creating smart contract, I normally tell developers that when you are creating smart contract, you have to be very careful. Remember, you are dealing with people's money, and people's money means your headache. Yeah, so you have to be careful when you're building these smart contracts. You have to be take in account for, because once you deploy your smart contract, there is no going back. So once you deploy your smart contract, you cannot change in production like you normally do in Web2. Like the database failed, but you are fixing it in production or something. Yeah, I know you normally do that. But when it comes to smart contract, you have to think even of the future. You have heard about different DeFi protocols doing lag pool. So that is something that I would discourage that you are building something and then leaving vulnerabilities into the smart contract, and then later on you go away with people's money. Remember, those are people's. Blockchain is supposed. It's an application. So you have to actually, before you even start, you have to learn the reason why blockchain was built. You have to go back in 2010 and learn that blockchain was built for the people. It was during the same time we are heading a recession. Yeah. So it was built for the people so that people can be able to earn money and build and have to be able to have the path they had. So you have to remember the purpose of each and every technology, why each technology has been built. Yeah. So you have to learn smart contracts, you have to learn smart contract testing, you have to know to test for vulnerabilities. And then once you do that, you have to also, so before you do the deployment, you have to know which kind of smart contract you are going to create. So we have mentioned about NFTs, we have mentioned about cryptocurrencies, and we have also mentioned about tokens. Yeah. So you have to know the different types of smart contracts that are there. So we have ERC20 tokens, we have ERC721, that is the NFT, and there are other versions of NFTs. And then there is a logic smart contract. So logic smart contract is, I'll give an example. If you want to create a supply chain a platform whereby you are tracking the food supply from the farmer all the way to the end consumer. So there are different logistic companies or different processes that are involved in the supply chain. And you want to track if the food comes from the farm, whether the farmer has used the correct amount of fertilizer, whether the farmer has used the right amount of the right seed. So you want to know whether without even changing that information being stored in the database. And then you may even go ahead to even integrate IoT so that they can be able to measure the amount of humidity, the amount of temperature that crop went under. And then that data is stored in the blockchain. So once you do that, then that information is sent to the distributor. Yeah. It's taken to the next person in the supply in the chain. Yeah. So that person is able to verify that this data is correct and the food or the food items are okay, are in good shape. And once before now you go to the end consumer will have maybe like a QR code, and then they scan and they will be able to see that this unga came from a person from Kenya, this coffee came from a person in Kenya, and they did use this and this and this amount. And then you can be able to verify that the food is in good condition for consumption. So that is how you can be able to use blockchain. And that's how you can be able to kind of create a logic smart contract. So logic smart contracts are not predefined. Yeah. So I think. Yeah.
Just before Brian chips in, there's something that John has mentioned that I think I want to engage him more on. You spoke about an example of the agriculture sector, and also I know earlier in our definition you actually mentioned that blockchain, once data is on the blockchain, it's immutable. You can't change it. You even said if you deploy a smart contract, you can't go back and make changes here and there. But I wanted to also highlight something that I think is very important. There's something called oracles. Once you deploy your smart contract, it doesn't mean that for, let's say, an application like you mentioned, the one in the agricultural sector, an oracle is basically, it incorporates real-world data onto the blockchain. There's a company called Chainlink that's doing some really great work in that space. So that data that you're speaking of, now you find a way of integrating Oracle. So basically, I want you to put in color how, let's say, someone has picked an application that is maybe not necessarily in the DeFi space that only requires the data on the blockchain, like it requires real-world data that is collected on the ground, and how you go about incorporating oracles into your smart contract on the protocol that you're building.
So awesome. Yeah. So Chainlink, and yeah. So I don't think I can add more to that because oracles are providing provides real world data that you can be able to also use in together with your smart contract. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to pull a string from what Jordan said, but we've moved from blockchain. Jordan talked about blockchain. Um, our Anthony, yeah, Anthony talked about oracles, and now as for me, I want to talk about probably. Do we have non-developers in here? Is everyone a developer? Non-developers? Anyone? Okay. So I want to talk about the front side of things, what you get to see, right? So probably as a non-developer or as a normal TikTok user, you don't know the mechanics TikTok uses or the algorithm, or you don't know how the algorithm works at the back end. But the front side, I'd like to take the example Anthony talked about. He talked about Uniswap. So Uniswap is a platform that helps you exchange, probably if you have some Bitcoin. Anyone who knows Bitcoin? Okay, we all know Bitcoin. Well, not these scam stories you've heard about, investing, something like that. We're going to talk about that later. Sure, Anthony will handle that. But the front side is you have some Bitcoins and you're wondering, how do I swap these to Ethereum so that I can start building? Because Ethereum, to build on Ethereum, you need some ETH, right? To deploy on the Ethereum chain, you need some ETH. And probably you bought some Bitcoin back then and you want to make good use of them. So if you go on Uniswap, the very first thing you realize is now signing up. So the only thing that you'll be asked is connect to a wallet. And a wallet is a tool that where you keep your cryptocurrencies, you keep your Bitcoins. So let's say on this wallet that you have the Bitcoins, right? So once you click connect, the entire backend thing Jordan is in charge of is going to happen and you be connected. So the only option you'll have is, first you'll get like, hey, are you sure you're connecting this to this and this? There's always a pop-up, always read those pop-ups. Then the next thing is going to have Ethereum and not Bitcoin, then probably a next symbol, then Ethereum, right? And down there it's going to show you how many Ethereums you're going to get for converting one Bitcoin. I hope I'm building this image in your minds. So once you click on swap, what happens is you'll be able to convert. But if you can go to the back end, Uniswap does not hold any Ethereum. Uniswap does not hold any Bitcoins. You are the people who will be holding the Bitcoins for Uniswap. So this is known as liquidity provision, and it's very huge in DeFi. And what happens is you go to Uniswap, you're like, do I want to just exchange one cryptocurrency to another? No. Do I want to provide liquidity? Yes. And once you do that, so when Anthony comes, okay, I'm going to pick a random person. Yeah, this guy. What's your name, sir? Omondi. So Omondi wants to exchange his Bitcoins to Ethereum. So what will happen is Omondi will go to Uniswap. You can check uniswap.org. Uniswap.org. It's very simplistic, by the way. But Omondi will be able to exchange his cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin. He will get some Ethereum. But at the back end, there's somebody like this guy. What's your name, sir? Dennis, and the lady beside you, Diana. So when Dennis went to Uniswap, he decided to become a liquidity provider, and he deposited his Bitcoin on Uniswap. Then Diana deposited her Ethereum, right? So Uniswap doesn't have action. Whenever Omondi does the exchange and the exchange is successful, there is a fee that Uniswap takes, right? Probably a 0.005 slippage on the transaction, right? So where does that fee go to? This is where the decentralized or the blockchain aspect comes in. The fee goes to, a tiny fee goes to the token to the team, right? To the team builders, the people behind Uniswap, a very slight amount. Then the rest, the entire amount goes to the people who have been providing liquidity, people such as Dennis and Diana. So when Dennis is just there, Dennis is earning some income, which is known as staking or liquidity provision. He's earning some money for holding his BTC on Uniswap. Diana is also doing the same. And I think that is something that you'll be doing with Mara. Check out the Mara wallet. You should be able to hold your cryptocurrencies in there and earn interest over time. So that is what I wanted to clarify on. I hope you have a clear picture of how it looks like, right? So just check uniswap.org. and we can continue the conversation from there.
Yeah, so I think we've really gotten into this, especially on DeFi. DeFi, I think, is one of the largest areas of applications of blockchain technology. I think it's going to outgrow crypto over the long term, as more companies, even in traditional, let's say, quote unquote companies, want to get onto the blockchain and automate their processes. I think another aspect of DeFi that we definitely need to, first of all, I just want to put it out there that as much as it's DeFi is decentralized finance, the solutions are not only in the finance space. That's why, as a young person getting into this, you can be as entrepreneurial as possible. You can tell that most people are thinking in a straight line, mainly in the finance sector, but maybe you might find an application that someone has not yet conjured up. Yeah. So on blockchain development, first of all, there are different kinds of blockchain networks. There are closed networks, there are these public networks like Ethereum. And so, John, I wanted to pose it to you. How does a dev, let's say you have an idea, you're looking for a blockchain platform or a blockchain network that you want to build on. So how do you go about deciding whether you want to build on Ethereum or you want to build on Solana or you want to build on Cardano? Like, how do you go about this?
Well, you've mentioned all the different blockchains that are there. So we have different blockchains. We have public, private, consortium, and hybrid. So the nature of your project, it goes back to the project scoping. So you have to do a project scoping. So if you are doing an agricultural or agri-tech solution, you will have to go either for a private blockchain, because some of the data needs to be private public data. Yeah. If you're building something like a DeFi protocol, you'll go for a public blockchain. So public blockchain are permissionless. You don't need to have any permission to build on top of it. And most applications are built on top of public blockchains. So the DeFi protocols you're using, like Uniswap, PancakeSwap, or any other application, or even the wallet that you will be having, they are built on public blockchain. Then we have private blockchains. So private blockchains are mostly for banks. So banks like JP Morgan, the others use private blockchain. So Ethereum has two kind of blockchains. So it has the public one that we know, and then we have Ethereum Enterprise. So that Ethereum Enterprise is built for enterprises. And yeah, then we have hybrid blockchains. So hybrid blockchains are blockchains that they are machine to machine. They don't have they communicate machine to machine, like IOTA blockchain, which means that there is no need for a miner or a validator to do the transaction confirmation. So they are transactionless blockchain. Then we have consortium blockchains. Mainly they are used by government. So if you're building a solution for the government, like the central bank cryptocurrencies, you're definitely gonna go for a hybrid or a consortium blockchain that is Hyperledger. So like the Nigerian Naira was built on Hyperledger. Then you also have to look at the gas transaction or gas fee. So currently Ethereum is using a lot of gas fee, or is consuming a lot of gas fee for transaction. And then there have come a lot of other blockchains which use different consensus mechanism. So if we go deep into the consensus mechanism, we have different consensus mechanisms. So like now we are in this room, we can have a way to agree to disagree, yeah, or a way to agree to disagree. Yeah, so it's called a consensus mechanism or a consensus method. So consensus method is what makes different blockchains secure. And it also is one of the reason why we forge ahead as individuals or as a company to be able to build a better company. And you can never have a company without having set rules and regulations that they have to follow. So the first type of consensus mechanism that is found in both Ethereum and Bitcoin is proof of work. So you have to solve kind of a puzzle so that you validate a transaction and then the transaction is added to a block. Then we have proof of stake. So proof of stake means that you stake some coins so that you validate. And then if you invalidate a transaction, you are at the risk of losing your coins. And then for proof of work, there are different types of proof of works. Not proof of work, but proof of stakes. There are different types of proof of stakes. We have delegated proof of stake and pure proof of stake. So delegated proof of stake is where you choose delegate amongst ourselves, and then that delegate is the one who's gonna be able to be doing the verification or validation of data or information of transaction. And then once the transaction fee that comes in, it's divided kind of the same as liquidity provider. You get the transaction fee to the stakeholders of that particular delegate. Yeah. So, and it doesn't mean that if John contributed 10 and I contributed 5, it doesn't mean that when the profit comes, I'll get the same amount as John. So I'll get a different as to what my stake is. Yeah. So that is proof of stake. And then we have other proof of other consensus mechanism depending on the blockchain, because we have IPFS, which is interplanetary file system, and that's what most of the, like if you build in something like a RAND or a title issuance system, you can build it. You can build and store those or a certificate for the cases of university. So recently we have had cases where people cheat at school. You can build your certificate provision on blockchain, whereby it means it's mutable. And if you are graduating with a specific class, let's say 2022 class of Moringa, then you will have the certificate put on blockchain. So anybody who wants to know whether the node was in Moringa, they can be able to go back to the system and be able to see that the node was actually there. So that is, the certificate will either be stored in IPFS, which means it will be immutable and it won't be changed. So every file which is stored in IPFS will be a different file. If you add a letter on that specific certificate, let's say you add the no with a H, and then the no was without a H, then that will be totally a different certificate. Yeah. So that is IPFS, and IPFS uses consensus mechanism that is either proof of storage or proof of something. Yeah. So they have proof of something. Yeah. Those are consensus mechanism. So that's how you choose which blockchain to build on top of. And also, the other thing is also, I will really kind of insist on weka mkazo is on the community. So we have Rust, we have Solidity, and we also have Haskell. So you also have to look at the type of programming language the different blockchain are using, because some languages like Haskell, you definitely have you will lose here, because then the community is limited. Yeah, so you have to look to something that has a very big community and help or solution is readily available, like something like Solidity or Last. At least the community is bigger. So that is one of the things you need to look at. Yeah, and not generally in Web3, but also in Web2. Whichever language you are learning, you have to look like how big the community is, so that when you start a project, sometimes you may start a project and then realize that there is no community on this programming language. Like PHP, the community is kind of slowly dying. So if you start building on PHP or something, you will surely have a rough time. Yeah. That's it.
Awesome. I think you went really into detail, given that most of you are developers and I bet you get a lot. You got a lot from that. And also one more thing I really like about the Web3 space is that I know most projects actually their code is open source, so you really have a chance to learn a lot and just piggyback on whatever other guys have done and add your own twist to it. Um, DeFi is just but one application. I'm sure Brian is really huge on this. We talked about NFTs earlier, and maybe Brian can just give us a brief overview. First of all, what problem exactly NFTs seek to solve? Because I think people see NFTs, you see the bored apes, and you're like, dude, why would I buy this for like $10,000? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So what exactly is the problem that NFTs are solving? What makes him so groundbreaking? Because I can have a picture of a bored ape on my phone. Like I can go to some random person who has like a bored ape on their DP and just download it and have it on my phone. So what's the difference between that? Like basically, what are NFTs and what problem are they solving, and how are they leveraging blockchain technology to do that?
Okay, thank you, Anthony. So NFTs. Before we get into this interesting topic, I'd like to ask: does anyone know? Okay, who loves music? Anyone? Music, hip hop. Okay, before you get into that, probably you can go into your YouTubes. Don't forget to mute or reduce the volume. Check Bored Ape Music by Eminem and Snoop Dogg. Probably you'll get an idea of what bored apes are, and you're gonna see some monkeys on that music. Just check it out. Whoever is willing. I think I have an open Wi-Fi hotspot here, if you need it. However, once you check it, or if you search bored apes, you're gonna see some monkey images, and these are just images, digital images people are publishing online. But now, where the essence of NFTs come in, and people normally publish them as IPSF files on the blockchain. And okay, when it comes to something like art, we have NFTs in different categories. So I'm gonna talk about music and that, right? So in art, that bored ape, that image of that ape that you're seeing, it can be uploaded on the blockchain. And assuming that, okay, I'm gonna talk about myself. I am uploading it on the blockchain, right? The minute I upload it on the blockchain, this creates a way of you verifying that first, I'm the very first person who uploaded this document, this piece of, like JPEG file on the blockchain. The second thing is you can verify that because there's a timestamp that this image first appeared on the internet on this day. And also I can be able to move it at will, right? If I create 5 copies, I can put them up for sale and say I'm selling them for 2 ETH. Each copy is 2 ETH. And if this guy here comes and says, hey, I like this stuff, I'm gonna buy it, and you buy it, that ownership is also recorded on the blockchain. So it's gonna show that I'm no longer the owner. Even if I come to you through all the legal formalities, hey, I want you to give me back, the blockchain is there to show that this transaction happened on this day, and you purchased this certain item for this certain amount of time. And that data, as Jordan said, is immutable. Nobody can change it. Nobody can try to play with it, right? I believe if you try to play with it, there are consequences. You might lose your ETH or something. So that is the first case. So NFTs are all about, first, you can prove ownership, and then you can also be able to transfer this ownership, and everybody can be able to see that it actually happened. But now, in the outside world, what is happening is people are moving into NFTs. Very many companies are coming up, probably news companies. Like, let's say we have Daily News. So Daily News are like, they're starting to publish their news articles as NFTs, and people can buy them. Probably some of the best-selling articles, something like that, people publish them as NFTs. And you find that, especially for the artists, musicians, as you can see, Eminem and Snoop Dogg are making huge amounts of sales through their bored apes. They are highly marketing on that new banger. Is it banger or banger? Banger, yeah, it's a really dope music. But outside there, you can also use NFTs in art. You can use NFTs in music. You can use NFTs in certificates, right? Some universities are issuing out certificates as NFTs. And this means that Well, an NFT can go two ways. You can either make it transferable, or you can make it not to be transferable. Man, you don't want to issue transferable certificates, right? You can all imagine, like, hey man, I'm gonna give you this degree for 300 ETH, and you're gonna buy it, and it means like I've moved all the skills. So there are two types of NFTs, but NFTs, non-fungible tokens, that is what it means. It's disrupting a lot of markets. It's becoming big. People are selling memes. You can go to meme. I think the project is known as meme. So imagine if we have meme creators here. Just go to a platform, upload your meme. If you created it, if you're the original author of that meme, you can sell it for huge amounts of cash. I think we saw this guy, the coffin dance guys. Does anyone know the coffin dance guys? We all know the coffin dance guys. So those guys sold the that script or that vibe for so much money as an NFT. It was around $2 million, right? $2 million. People bought it, and they were selling different copies, different versions of those funny clips, and people were buying them, and it was sensational. So that is what I can say about NFTs in a nutshell. Probably there's something that I've missed out on. Jordan can add.
So I'll add something onto what Brian has said. So yeah, MIT was the first one to provide blockchain certificates on blockchain. So on top of on what NFTs are solving, and especially in creative industry, is that we have had Waide and all the other guys join into an Octopizo and Bogia NFT, join into NFT and providing NFT. So one of the challenges that the creative industry has had in Kenya is that you find artists are not paid like well in terms of royalty. So in NFTs, we have royalties that are embedded into the smart contract. So if an artist can be able to sell their music as an NFT, and in terms of either limited editions, then they can be able to make a lot of money, and then they can be able to bypass all these other licensing, kind of bypass, but kind of get more equity from their music and get more money from their music. We see them every day that they don't make a lot of music, and they keep on talking on social media that they got 10 pop or something. But with NFT, they can be able to release their music through that, and then they get royalties. So that means that we'll be kind of eliminating piracy, because the music will be released as it will be pay per view or something, and then they can be able to make enough money on that. Yeah. So if we as developers, we can be able to create such kind of systems for them and be able to bring them on board. We can be able to create an ecosystem that does. In fact, people who make more money are pirates. Yeah. So if we create such systems, we can be able to help them to be able to sell their music and be able to achieve a lot of things. Yeah.
Awesome. I think you've really gone in depth on each of the applications. Just mention one other one in passing. This is more recent. I'll say, like, the first one was in 2017. They're called DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. Basically, they are just imagine a company but on the blockchain. The same way, like if you own a stock in a company, you attend annual general meetings. You get to vote whether to approve or disapprove of certain things when the board presents them. So imagine that, but on the blockchain now, you have, there's one called MakerDAO. I think it's one of the biggest ones. There's one called People. There's another, what was called Constitution DAO. Actually, so I think the perfect example is the example of Constitution DAO, because these guys wanted to buy a copy of the US Constitution. And so they created this decentralized autonomous organization on the blockchain. And if you bought a token of Constitution DAO, it meant that the money you've used to buy the token would be used to buy a copy of the Constitution. And so once they were planning on going to, it was, art pieces are usually auctioned. They're planning to go on the auction, and then they buy the Constitution. And if they had bought it, if you own a token, it means you own part of the Constitution. Yeah. If its value rises over time, it means the value of the token you bought will also rise over time, and you can sell to someone else. So there's so many applications, especially even in fundraising. You can see that is a very clear application. I don't know if any company will ever want in the future to go public that way. Instead of getting listed at the stock exchange, at the NSC, you just decide to make a DAO and you issue tokens. People buy tokens, you just like shares, they'll buy shares. And also they can, by the way, get distributed dividends. If you make profit, you can distribute among all the token holders. They get maybe additional tokens or some stablecoin or anything of that sort. So as far as the application is concerned, the sky is the limit. It's literally not the limit. Like there's literally no limit. The space is very young. You can go crazy as much as you want. So it really delivered on a lot of the applications, and I'd like us to move now towards the aspect of the gig economy and how blockchain technology is aiding that. I think the gig economy was really ushered in by internet penetration. As the internet, more people, especially in Africa, especially in Kenya now, as more people got access to the internet, it meant that they were able to provide services on a freelance basis or on a short-term basis to companies even that are abroad. And so this is something that has been going on, but I think it really caught steam during COVID because a lot of companies now decided to go remote. They didn't want to have people at the offices. And so there was more, the gig economy was really boosted. Like companies in the US are hiring people remote. So you don't have to be an American to work for the company. And and blockchain technology being a new technology that also caught steam at the same time, I think it meant that there was just an explosion of opportunity. Based on my personal experience, I mentioned that I'd worked at a derivatives exchange, crypto derivatives exchange. It's called Sin Futures. And how I got that position is I just kept up with the space because I was really intrigued. Like I got into crypto around sometime in 2018, mainly on the just curiosity because I was like, these things are trading. I'm really into financial markets. I was like, oh, maybe this thing might be worth a second look. And so when I was looking through, I kept up with these companies and I saw they were hiring. And I was like, oh, cool. These guys are hiring. I'd also started my own blog. I was writing on crypto here and there. And so when they were hiring, actually ended up, I think for me, it wasn't intentional. At least for you, you have people who can give you direction. For me, I just had things that I was doing that I talked about it. They were like, oh, you're a great fit for this, just because I had put my work out there. And so I just wanted us to maybe, first of all, just what kind of opportunities are in the Web3 space, blockchain Web3 space first. And then now we can go into how you can position yourself to take advantage of this opportunity, or how do you even find the opportunities? Because you might, maybe this is the first time you're ever hearing that there's such opportunities. You probably just thought of a traditional career path. I'll finish this, probably work at some IT company or something. But there's so much out there. So first of all, I just wanted, Brian, just give us a perspective on what kind of opportunities, first of all, are in the space. As much as we're talking to devs here, I'm certain some of them might want to venture into other areas and might hear something and be like, yeah, that sounds more interesting, or I want to get into that. So, Brian.
Okay, so I hope you guys remember when I said that with every trend comes many opportunities. And with many opportunities, there are also people who are always taking advantage of these opportunities in the right way or in the wrong way, right? Some people will take advantage of people not knowing, and they might end up taking away people's money. And that we'll talk about that later. But there is the other side of things. Yeah. So good news, guys. If there's anyone who's supposed to be part of the panel, and you're seated back there, please feel free to fill the seats. We'll have more people to talk to. Okay. So what was I talking about? Where were we? Opportunities. Okay. So yeah, there are people who take advantage of the existing opportunities of the coming trends. So I'm gonna give a little story about a guy I know. And the dude started in crypto back in 2016. Just as Anthony said, he was very passionate or very moved with the entire idea of blockchain and Web3. So every time he came across something nice, he could write about it. Every time he came across something nice, he could post it. But over time, back in 2016, there are not many opportunities. That is what he was telling me. But with time, he started finding that very many people are reaching out to his LinkedIn. Hey, do you want to come to be, let's say for me, a community manager? I think some time back we had an event and some people were asking, what is a community manager? Because this is a new skill. This is a new like job that did not exist back then. So when I said I was a community manager, people were like, whoa. And there are very many other very many other job opportunities out there. Jordan will talk about the dev side of things. So you can become a community manager. You can become a Discord moderator. You can become a Telegram moderator. You can become a blockchain company HR or accountant. Now this is where the spice is, right? So let's say you're a normal HR doing your daily jobs, but now you start learning about blockchain and crypto. You start understanding how it works, and then you can call yourself a blockchain HR. Why not? You don't know how HR works, right? Now you don't know how blockchain and cryptocurrencies work. You can go to your Twitter, post that you're a blockchain enthusiast and a human resource manager, right? Or a blockchain human resource manager. That means any company that is out there looking for, people who know blockchain and are good with HR, bring them on board, right? You can become, actually it's like anything in the traditional world, just add the spice that you're talking about, that is the Web3 and blockchain knowledge. Once you add that on top, you can qualify to start working for blockchain companies. As long as you merge the information that you've recently learned and the opportunities and the skills that you had previously acquired. So some of the opportunities that I've seen, I've talked about community managers, I've talked about Discord managers, I didn't talk about social media managers, but there are blockchain or Web3 social managers. You can just go to Twitter, just check it out. If you have a Twitter profile, always make sure that you're updating your accounts with the blockchain stuff, the spice, the good spice. Just edit on your profile. You can become, what else? You can become a strategist, a blockchain company strategist. Any career that exists outside there, once you have the spice on it, I think you're good to go to become a blockchain, or be called a blockchain, whatever career that you're doing. So blockchain community manager, blockchain HR, blockchain accountant, and Jordan is going to talk about the developer side of things and the opportunities in there.
Okay. So I'll ask a question. Another question. Easier freezer. So how many of us freelance? Like even when you are still doing your study, you are freelancing. Okay, 1, 2, Kevin. Yes, awesome. Any of us or any of you have ever participated in a hackathon? How many of us? Hackathon 1, 2, 3. 3. Okay. So okay. So there are different routes as a developer you can be able to like have approach. You can approach. So you can either do freelancing. So you go to a place like Upwork or ETHRANS. So ETHRANS is a platform where you can be able to like find Web3 jobs, just like the way you find Web2 jobs on Upwork. But now in ETHRANS, you can be able to find jobs that are purely Web3, integrating smart contracts, adding, maybe creating wallets, building DeFi protocols, and then you are paid in cryptocurrency, which is awesome. Then you can either join hackathons. So hackathons, it's a very good way to actually meet and connect with people and also make money, and also a way to also be able to build maybe your project idea or maybe contribute to other projects. So that is there, and then you can also be able to look for the other way, the normal way, the traditional way. Do the running for Web3 and then find a company and then go with your projects. But I'll encourage you guys to like maybe build a portfolio projects. It doesn't matter whether you call it a pet project or whatever, but build it. It really helps. So I'll give a little backstory about myself and how I joined the different companies like now I'm working with. And one of the things that happened in 2020 was that got fired and the job got finished. So I had to look for an alternative, like to make a living, and that's when I got introduced to a company that was beginning to launch their blockchain in August that year in 2020. So we were the first bunch of the bootcamp, and then we had to come with different ideas. So I remember I never knew how to do pitching. Like, how do I pitch my idea? How do I structure my idea? Like, now I'm in a hackathon, but I don't know. I have no idea. But I'm saying I'm hacking something. I'm hacking something. So that's when I realized that building a product and building an application, you really need to have a team. You need a team of a front-end developer. You need a team of back-end developer. You need a team of UI UX. You need somebody to do the pitching. So you can always be able to. We can never all be equal. Yeah, we can never all be equal. So there are those guys who are talented in coding. There are those guys who are talented in UI UX, and there are those guys who are talented in pitching. So like they know how. Wao wakikuja watakuzia kila kitu. So there are those guys, and those guys are the ones who are really needed if you blend and you combine them together with developers, they are able to pitch those ideas. So the hackathon way, you are pitching and building a solution in maybe a few weeks. And also it's a good way when you get into a hackathon because you will be able to learn. So that is one way. Then later on, there is what we call bounties. So there is a website known as Gitcoin where you can be able to do bounty. So bounty hunters are really paid a lot of money. So in last year, around December, that was 2021, in December or September, there was one developer. So watu wameingia kwa Discord, and they are making all these noises that there is a hack in one of the DeFi protocol. I don't remember the name of the DeFi. So people are saying, oh, there is a hack. The system has the smart contract has a vulnerability. So this guy joins the Discord community because there was also some discussion on Twitter, and the guy joins the Discord community so that he can be able to understand the severity of the bug and the vulnerability. So the guy looks at the charts, and then he decides to go back now to his big monitor and then analyze the smart contract. So within like 2 to 3 years, he gathered his team, and then they solved the problem. And within 2 to 3 hours, they had a report on the vulnerabilities, and they had solved the issue. And those guys were able to get like I think 10 million US dollars, yeah, in about 5 hours. Yeah, in about 5 hours. So that is bug bounty. So you get there, you specialize in finding bugs in programs, and you find how to fix them. So there is the platform is called Gitcoin. So you can be able to find there some of the bounties. So I know Tevin is here. He's one of those guys who does that. He finds bounties and solves them. Yeah. So then that is one bounty hunters. Then we have, you can also be incentivized to learn. Yeah. So you learn and then you get paid in blockchain. So there is a platform known as Decade. There is 2 courses. There is different communities. So you can either choose Ethereum community or Solana community. And then when you learn, you get to, so for the 2 courses, you get to learn, you are paid 250 USD. Yeah, 250 USD. So that's a good amount of money. Yeah. And then there is also, for those who are doing data science and such, you can be able to be given images that are provided, and then you classify them. You say this is a cow or something, and then you aggregate. When you have all that data piled up, then you can be able to be paid for doing such. So there is a lot of opportunity out there. So don't, as a developer, don't study to be just employed. Study to look for more and look to find opportunity on the internet. And somebody once told me that, I don't know if it's a fact, or something, but the gig or the internet has a lot of GDP. The entire Africa combined, the entire Africa countries combined together with their GDP. I think it's 2 trillion or something. 2 trillion, but the gig or the internet itself has a lot of opportunity. It has a lot of wealth in it. We have venture capitalists who fund startup ideas. So you can come up with your idea, you find a solution in the you find a problem in the community and find a solution for it, and then you get funded. So some of the companies that I've worked with have found fundings through venture capitalists and venture funding and hackathon funding. Yeah. So if you like Mara, that's how they were able to raise a lot of cash. Something like Kotani Pay, that's how they were able to raise cash, and they have been able to build products and solutions which are helping Africans. We want to make our continent more. The way I think about wealth is that we have had different continents. So right now it's in Asia. Early it was in America, but currently it's in Asia. But now if we take, it's coming back, it's coming back to us. So if we build that, if we build all that solutions for us and by ourselves, we will stop being consumers. So there is a lot of opportunities, and try to venture. I've seen a few hands being raised for people who have participated in hackathons, like 3 or 4. Try to participate in hackathons and try to find bugs in codes. Don't find bugs and then you hack the system. Find bug and fix. You get paid more, and you also get the job to do the fixing.
Yeah, speaking of hacks, I think you've been seeing a lot of them in the crypto space. You've seen these bridges that allow people to transfer assets from one blockchain network to another. Wormhole was hacked. Axie Infinity was hacked. So there's also an opportunity on the security side of things. There's cybersecurity, but Web3 security, there's also a niche there. You can see if you have anything you can add on there. A few careers also, because my exposure is different from them. I come from the investment side of things, so I'm really interested in. I'm glad you mentioned private equity. So even as a developer, you can still most of these private equity firms, when they're deciding which protocols they're going to invest in, they usually need people who have industry knowledge on the ground to help them decide which projects or which protocols they're going to invest in. So as a dev, don't limit yourself to working, let's say, for protocol. There's also the potential that you could also work for these private equity firms and help them in identifying where exactly to invest. You mentioned also about funding. Most of the funding is private equity. There's Sequoia, there's Andreessen and Horowitz, A16Z, that's like the most common out there. But also there's the grant. There's some protocols that, I know the Ethereum Foundation does grants, Cardano, there's also even some layer 2s, DYDX, I know they do grants. So if you have a project that you think has genuine utility, you can apply for the grant. You can apply for the grant program, and if it indeed they see the value in whatever you're providing, they can also give you funding for your project. So there's tremendous opportunity both as a part of a team and also you applying yourself, you putting out your own solution into the market and looking for funding, because you might have the idea but not the funds to bring it into fruition. So I just want us to, as a parting shot, we've talked about blockchain technology, we've talked about the gig economy and the different opportunities that they can take anyone can take advantage of if they position themselves correctly. Personally, apart from the careers they mentioned, I've been a research analyst I've been a research analyst capacity, and so there's so many ways you can apply yourself. Don't limit yourself. Don't say because I'm a dev, I have a hammer, everything is a nail. I'm only going to look for dev opportunities. Once you learn enough about blockchain technology, you can say, I'm seeing an opportunity to be a community manager. I think I can do it. So let me just go ahead and do it. So don't limit yourself also. Don't close your mind. And one more thing I wanted to mention. Most of the firms in the Web3 or DeFi or even blockchain space are foreign companies. They're in Europe, they're in the US. So there's tremendous opportunities locally, like us at Base Consulting. When you're starting out, there was barely any local firm that was providing any blockchain solutions. So you might see a niche that can be solved by moving certain functions to the blockchain and decide, you know what, I'm going to start my own firm and I'm going to provide A, B, C, and D in that space. So for the rest of the panelists, maybe do you have any parting shots or anything that you feel that we also need to touch on to just give everyone who's listening a fuller perspective of the space and the opportunities that it has?
Yeah. So one thing I really like saying about blockchain is that I see blockchain technology as a gift for us in terms of the solutions that we can be able to build, especially in terms of corruptions. In terms of corruption, we can be able to build immutable solutions that counter corruption and does that. So as a developer, it's up to us. The task is ours to find a solution to build something which is impactful in our society, and that changes life. So yeah, one of the things that I did an application that was right now is being used by farmers in Nigeria, which is really awesome because I'm just here, but the farmers are in Nigeria and they are enjoying the benefit of getting transaction on time and which are using a stable currency. So those are some of the things that we can be able to do. We can be able to build, and I encourage you guys to think beyond, apart from local, interact with guys who are international guys, and then once you get that information, come build something that is helping us to be better and build a better system. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'll say is, first, we have to realize that we are transitioning. Probably most of you, this is the first time or the second or the third time you're hearing about blockchain. But let us appreciate that this is happening, and it's happening at the right time. So you guys count yourselves as lucky that you are getting to start to learn about this type of stuff. Second thing, start involving yourself, right? If you hear another blockchain stuff, crypto stuff, try to attend. I think there's so many happening in Kenya. I've seen crypto and fun, crypto drinks, free drinks, interact with people. Some of you have been there. Just try go there, go see what is happening and start having those interactions. The other thing is get into those communities, right? Get in there, ask questions. Trust me, as Jordan said, I've seen some communities where somebody's just active. Somebody's always just answering questions because he knows what goes on. And that guy probably ends up landing a job because of his loyalty or his engagement points, something like that, right? So be involved, be part of the community, see what is happening, and be active in it. You never know what happens, but whatever it is that you're doing, keep on doing it in blockchain and Web3. And in the next 2 or 3 years, doesn't have to be on the investment side of things, but you will be in a better position. Last thing, if anyone asks for your money in one way or another, always ask questions. So the best place to talk or ask that type of questions is in the communities you join in blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So with that being said, welcome to Web3, guys. And yeah, you want to go next?
Just a parting question. I'm sure some of you hold crypto. How many are holding, still holding? How many have sold out already? Like you just capitulated, you're like, this is it, I'm done. How many are buying the dip? Oh my God. All right. Have a great time. We'll still be around if you want to talk to any of us. We are always open to.
And that is really painful. He said he doesn't have money to buy the dip. To be honest, we can go to McDonald's, all of us, right? We might decide to McDonald's, but if you're part of these crypto communities, you find that there are free giveaways, people giving away free 50 USDTs for doing silly stuff, silly and fun stuff, right? So join in there, you'll get your free cryptos for the first time, and it's always very engaging. Do you want to add something, Jordan?
Run Web3, you'll get more money.
All right, it is all about the money at the end of the day, right? I really want to thank their panelists, so can we just give them a round of applause? How many of you feel like they've benefited from the session? Awesome. So we really want to thank you, for coming and sharing with our alumni. If Web3 is the future, right? Web3 is the future. If you're into blockchain, into crypto or big data, you are in the right space. So we've come to the end of the session. So we're going to go into the next session. So we still have more, engaging conversations happening in the afternoon from 2 p.m. In this room, we are going to be discussing around the evolution of tech, and we'll be getting a recruiter's perspective, on the role of corporations and institutions in, building digital skills. So you don't want to miss it. You're welcome to join the conversation at 2. But until then, I want to invite Mr. Sneha Shah, Moringa School CEO, to just say a few words of encouragement to the alumni, but also them to give our guests here a token of appreciation. Sneha, please. Let's give him a hand, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alan. And thank you to our wonderful panelists for shedding the light on blockchain. You're obviously the experts, and it's really nice to see our graduates, being eager to learn about the different trends in tech. And we don't stop just at programming, right? We want to learn more. Of course, blockchain is important in everything that we do. Of course, crypto is probably one use, right? But there are many other uses as well. And as Moringa, we of course offer the software development, data science, but now with Alan's team, we're working very closely with a lot of the corporates to upskill their staff on some of these key topics, ranging from cybersecurity to robotics, AI, of course, blockchain. We are the ones who are running the Safaricom Digital Academy, where we've trained about 300 of their staff, and there's some exciting news ahead where, because of the success of that, we're going to expand that much more. We have already started training on the back of that Safaricom contract. We're now going to Vodacom in Tanzania and maybe other Vodacom countries in Africa, where we're already starting to train on blockchain. So that's where the trends are leading, and Moringa, we want to keep pace with that. So yeah, today is to really thank you for attending these talks, paying a lot of attention, and we really hope that you network, because the reason we invite these guys is there's nothing in the world as free lunch, right? So giving these guys an opportunity to speak, that means in return they have to give you guys jobs. So that's the deal that we have, and for that, to honor that promise, we are going to honor them with a small token of appreciation. And today we're also honored to have our board member Ryan from South Africa, who is here. So Ryan, can you please come and award our panelists for their tokens? Thank you. So, well, you need to tell them a bit about your background in education, Ryan.
These guys, this is terrible. I'm never coming back. Great to meet everyone today. I'll make it brief. I started a business about 10 years ago, an education business in South Africa, which set out to try and provide high quality education to families in South Africa. Launched it and I exited about 4 or 5 years ago. We had about 1,000 full-time staff members at the time, and it continues today, trying to provide quality education to South African families. And I really believe in education, obviously. I believe in what it can do for people's futures, change the game. And that's why I'm involved in Moringa and give my time. So yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for embarrassing me. I was listening in the back to the talk. You guys definitely know what you're talking about, especially the part about fund managers, PE, VC. They can't invest in this kind of stuff unless they have people on their team that actually know what's going on. That was like a really valuable point. Those kinds of skills are very, very valuable. So thank you. Let me hand out these gifts and get off the stage.
Let's give them a round. Thank you so much. And with that, we come to the end of this session. See you at 2 p.m. Huh? Oh, you guys have questions. Okay, let's see. Who has a question from the audience?
Hi guys. Yeah, so my question will go to Anthony. Anthony. Since you are more in the investment side, my question will go to, in the DeFi space, you find that most of those, operations in the DeFi are mostly controlled by whales. People with a lot of money. And you find that, like, in the case of, like, say, an example of Solend, you find that they were to be liquidated, but one of the whales had a lot of money, so it didn't go under. So in the future, how do we, like in the DeFi space, how are whales going to be controlled, or how is it going to be?
We'll take 3 questions and then we'll give them an opportunity to respond. Who has another question?
I think I have a very simple question. So I get back home and I open up my laptop and what do I search for so that I can get into Web3? Because I am interested. I've tried a little bit of Solana and trying to create a coin for myself, but I don't know how to get into Web3 and Web3 sites and all of that. What first do I go to as the initial step?
Is your question directed to any particular panelist or any can take? Or I'll take the last question. A lady, maybe? You have a question? Okay. Sawa.
Yeah, so you mentioned the issue of whales, and that's definitely an issue. The fact that the security and the future of a protocol can literally be put at risk because of one individual. And I think that's where the innovation aspect of it comes in. This space, it's been described as the wild, wild west because people are still figuring out things. People are just bootstrapping, trying to find solutions. One thing I'd say, the fact that it's an open system, it means if you have enough funds, you can literally buy all the tokens you would like. They're literally on sale. So as someone who's looking to break into the space, I think that's a solution you can provide. I've seen a few solutions, but most of them just end up limiting how freely people can transact on a protocol, and people end up just abandoning it at all, completely. So maybe you can conjure up a solution, you come up with a solution, you provide it in the market, you say, hey, you're having a problem with all these whales, people with deep pockets, taking control. I have A, B, C, and D that I can do to solve that. And that goes out to anyone. Those solutions, when you see these problems, it means that there's a gap somewhere someone is not filling, and you can put yourself in that position. Yeah. I hope I captured it correctly.
I'll answer the second question. Yeah. So the first thing you type once you open your computer will be web3.j. Web3. So that is the first thing that you type, Web3, And the first thing that will pop up will be, I think, web3.js. So web3.js is the library that you use to kind of interact with an Ethereum node. It has different methods that you can be able to use, like create an account, get broke numbers, such methods, and do transaction, so transfer it. Yeah. Then the second thing you may want to type is Solidity, but make your search solid. So Solidity, that is the programming language for smart contract. So I've mentioned about Decade, so you can also search for Decade. You can also search for DAP University. You can also search for Eat the Blocks. You can also search for Ivan on Tech. And then those three, they are YouTubers, and they teach more about fundamentals of how to create smart contracts, what is blockchain, so that you can be able to get started. For those who, also you can be able to like search more on, if you want to know the evolution of money, like how money evolved, you can search origin of money. Yeah, origin of money.
Just to add some few things on the money part, on Netflix, go and search for G-Word, History of Money, right? G-Word, History of Money, you're gonna see it. Then you can also search Jordan Mudemba. I'm sure you'll find him. You'll be able to get contact with him. And there's also the Mara Blockchain Masterclass going on. The first class was here. The second one is going to go on. So probably try to join the Discord or Telegram channel, then you'll get more information from there. So yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. Please let's give them a round of applause. Yeah, and don't forget, keep tweeting. The hashtag is Moringa School Career Fair 2022. Don't forget to tag, all our sponsors, Safaricom, DVT Software, Microsoft, and so on and so on. The conversation continues. As I've mentioned, at 2 p.m., we have a talk, on technical recruitment under the general theme in software development. So you are all welcome. Asanteni sana. Yes, and remember,